This picture is of where the causeway ends in Kingston. So this is where it joins Kingston to Portmore. And in the very center of the photograph is the area where we used to have the zinc factory. So everyone would say we're going to the zinc factory in the old days. Also, if you see at the bottom center of the photograph, that's the old Causeway Road. And on the very left of the photograph, you can see the new Causeway Road, which is really Highway 2000. On the way to Portmore, you will pass Fort Augusta. Fort Augusta, the biggest English fort that was built by the colonial English people. And as you can see, we have some in the middle of the fort. You see some buildings which are, of course, the prison barracks. So at that time in 2009, the Fort Augusta was a prison, and Fort Augusta has a very long history. So it should be interesting. Read it in the book when you get a chance to purchase it. Everyone knows this building in what I call downtown Portmore Mall area. This building was built by, I think, the masters, and I think someone told me that he wasn't sure exactly what he was building it for, except that it looks Germanic and has some Germanic motifs on it. So it does conform to his family roots. It has, of course, had many uses over the years, such as with an ice cream parlor or a gambling establishment, etc. So it's a building looking for a use. But anyway, this is found in the city center of Portmore. This is an aerial view of Portmore looking from north going south. So in the very background, far top of the picture, that's Hellshire, and then you have the Hellshire Hills, and after the Hellshire Hills you have the original old Portmore built around the racetrack, as you can see, and the rear Cobre to the very left of the photograph. So that's the original Portmore. This is a closer look at the Portmore Mall area, or the coastline of Portmore. Again, looking south with Hellshire in the far background. But as you're looking in the very center of the photograph, you see the what was once the Dawkins Pond and the Dawkins Salt Pond, which we suppose they used to make salt from. But certainly it was a great fishing pond at one time. We also see the mouth of the Rio Cobre, which is at the very forefront of the picture, the bottom left. You see the mouth of the Rio Cobre River. Now these schemes that are here further south, those is Edgewater scheme. That's one of the first schemes that was planned for the Portmore area. Independence City was the first modern scheme, but the scheme that was planned for the area specifically was Edgewater. Now, as you know, Portmore was built on a property called Portmore, and Portmore extended from exactly in the foreground here right to the very background towards the hill. So this going all the way towards the sea, that was the original Portmore property on which Portmore was built. And of course, we know that it was the Dawkins who named the property Portmore after their relatives in England. Also, in the very foreground of this picture, to the right, where the logo is, you will see the first 19 or so houses that were built as Independence City, and the first modern scheme to be built in Portmore. Another view looking south. View of Independence City, more detail. Again, the 19 initial houses of Independence City, the first modern houses in Portmore, are at the very bottom right of the photograph. Now, this is a wonderful picture of Greater Portmore. So you have Portmore and they have Greater Portmore. This is the addition to Portmore that was made in the early 1990s. And these are most of the schemes that you see there, the Greater Portmore schemes. Also, in the very foreground, you'll see Caribbean Estate being built. This is Port Henderson in Portmore, and of course, you can see the hotel that was built as one of the first modern hotels that was supposed to start a tourist business in Portmore. But that didn't pan out. That's the Forum Hotel. Didn't work out. And since then, they've been struggling to have various uses for that particular building. But this is Port Henderson. Very long history as an alternative port for the in colonial days. This is Rodneys, the ruins of Rodneys Lookout. You know, you'd look out over the sea. So this is on top of the hill called the Port Henderson Hills. So right above Port Henderson is way up on the hill is this ruin, and people used to trek there once, but if you go there, you will see the ruins that it is said that Rodney went up there to oversee what's going on the sea. Now, further on the same Port Henderson Hills, um, going further south, almost towards Fort Clarence, way up on the hill in the bush, you have another lookout called the Grass Piece Lookout. Some people say Glass Piece Lookout, but it's a lookout that the soldiers would go on top of, and if an enemy was coming on the sea, they would light a fire, and the people in Spanish Town would be alerted that there were ships, enemy ships in the harbor. This, of course, never really happened because the British became so strong militarily on the sea as a maritime power. So it was never really used, but certainly soldiers used to be up there during colonial times to ensure that there was no invasion in Jamaica. So the ruins are there up on the hill. If you know what to look for, you can actually see it on a clear day. As far as Spanish Town, you can see it from. But it's right there in the bushes. This is view of Hellshire in 2009, of course. But these are also some of the first schemes that were actually built in Hellshire. Originally, Hellshire sold lots. They sold lots in Hellshire, but after that, they began to build schemes. So these are some of the early schemes that you can see there. And as you can look up the coast, you can see Port Clarence. You can see Hellshire Beach to the very right there. We have tons of other videos for you to see. So give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and go on to the other videos. Thank you for watching.